Welcome to Fantasia, home of the melodious. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys an update to my Lunalight deck. Now, this build that I have right here is going to be a Performapal Lunalight deck, not the standard Odd-Eyes build that I've been running up until now. If you want the most up-to-date Odd-Eyes build, just check out last month's deck profile, the November 2016 one. The deck felt stagnant to me. I just couldn't bring myself to make any more changes to it because it just works so well and it works so smoothly for what I wanted it to do. So the differences between the Odd-Eyes build and the Performapal build is that the Odd-Eyes build went for more consistency, as in searching out specific cards that you needed at the time, and then going for a specific string of plays. However, the Performapal build focuses more on drawing, so you're going to power through your deck, and basically whatever combo pieces that you draw, you're going to work with from there. So that's kind of the differences between the two. I'd say this build is a little bit faster and it generates a little bit more advantage, but you don't always have a consistent string of plays that go along with it. So with that being said, let's just jump right into the deck profile. First of all, we were running 2 copies of Lunalight White Rabbit. Now we're only running 2 because I do have some other cards that require normal summons, so I want to cut down on the number of cards that really need the normal summon in order to get their effects off. So White Rabbit, when you normal summon her, you can special summon a Lunalight monster from your graveyard into your side of the field and face up defense position. And her second effect is that you can target spawn trap cards that your opponent controls up to the number of other Lunalight cards that you control, return them to the hand. So basically acts as a mini giant Trunade. Of course, clears the opponent's back row so that you can go for safer plays and pendulum summons, actually, because this deck revolves a lot around pendulum summoning. Okay, so next off we were playing 3 copies of Lunalight Black Sheep. Now Black Sheep, of course we know it's 2 effects. You can discard her to add 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. Very good for just filling up the graveyard for things like White Rabbit and for Lunalight Perfume. And the other effect, which is to add 1 Lunalight monster from your graveyard back to your hand. Now this effect actually comes in handy in this build because you're going to be adding Lunalight Blue Cat to your hand a lot and then pendulum summoning her so that you can double something's attack to bring her up to larger attack points so you can attack over your opponent's cards and go for OTKs. So that's actually going to be really useful in this build. And of course, if Black Sheep is used as a fusion material for a fusion summon, then you can add 1 Lunalight monster from your extra deck or your graveyard back to your hand. So really good for generating advantage that way, or at least preventing yourself from losing advantage when you're going for fusion plays. Okay, so next off we were playing 3 copies of Lunalight Blue Cat. Now Blue Cat, the level 4 of the deck, because we don't have Kaleido Chick and we don't have Crimson Fox yet in the TCG. But Lunalight Blue Cat actually helps for a lot of rank 4 plays, and you can still do nice little loops with her with Tiger. So that's also really good for making rank 4 spams, and she is the floater of the deck, so if she gets destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can summon any other Lunalight monster straight from your deck to your side of the field. So yeah, she prevents you from losing to OTKs, essentially. Okay, so next off we were playing 3 copies of Lunalight Tiger, the my favorite card in the deck, to be honest. So Tiger has a scale of 5, which is actually really relevant because you can pendulum summon your level 3s and 4s in this deck. And her pendulum scale effect is once per turn you can target 1 Lunalight monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it's destroyed during the end phase. It cannot attack and its effects are negated, all that good stuff. But if you bring back a Blue Cat, the Blue Cat will be able to float during the end phase, which is pretty cool. So her monster effect is if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, even if it's in your pendulum scale, so if you activate the pendulum scale and it gets MST'd or twin twistered, then she can float. You can target 1 Lunalight monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So that is always really good, and you're always going to be popping her in your scale, so you can bring back, your fusions like Cat Dancer or Panther Dancer. You can bring back your Blue Cats, Black Sheeps, and go extend your plays from there. So always really useful. Okay, so last Lunalight monster in our deck, the Lunalight Wolf. She's a miracle fusion in the pendulum scale, so you can banish Lunalight monsters that on your side of the field or in your graveyard to go for a fusion play. And her monster effect is when she's on the field, all Lunalight monsters you control inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So really good for going past your opponent who's trying to wall up. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Performapal engine. This is going to be a pretty big engine, but you need it because of how the deck plays. Starting off, we play one copy of Performapal Skullcrobat Joker. Now, this searches out any of your Performapal monsters, but it requires a normal summon. So this is the reason I cut White Rabbit down to 2, because you do need to play this, and it searches out basically any Performapal that you need at the time. Speaking of searching out Performapals you need, we play 3 copies of Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. So Pendulum Sorcerer, being a scale 2, is really great because you pendulum summon your 3s and your 4s if you have this in scale with Tiger. And his pendulum scale effect is if a Performapal monster is pendulum summoned to your side of the field, all Performapal monsters you control gain 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. So that is really powerful in that regard. But his monster effect is the best effect of all, in my opinion. So when this card is special summoned, you can target up to 2 cards you control, destroy them, and if you do, add Performapal monsters with different names to from your deck to your hand, except Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, that are equal to the number of cards that were destroyed. So basically what you can do is when you pendulum summon the Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, you can target your tiger in your scale or your blue cat on the field, and then they'll be able to float, so you basically get 2 free searches, and then you get to float into more monsters. So really, really powerful, and basically the key card for making all of your big pushes. So you want to see him as fast as possible. Okay, so now going into the draw engine that comes with this deck, we play 1 copy of Performapal Giturtle. Now Giturtle is, for the scale effect, it says if a Performapal card is activated in your other pendulum zone, you can draw 1 card. So this, in conjunction with Performapal Lizard Draw, which we run 3 copies of, basically ends up as a mini Pot of Greed. So Performapal Lizard Draw is also scale 6, and it says if you have a Performapal card in your other pendulum zone except Performapal Lizard Draw, you can destroy this card, and if you do, draw 1 card. So basically, if you have a Giturtle on a scale and you put Lizard Draw on the other scale, Giturtle will activate, letting you draw a card, then you destroy Lizard Draw, and you get to draw another card. So basically a free Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards from your deck. And then you can always pendulum summon your Lizard Draws back to your side of the field, because Lizard Draw has an effect, a really, really powerful effect, and I really do like it. So Lizard Draw's effect is if another face-up monster that you control is destroyed by your opponent's attack or by card effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of Performapal monsters you currently control. So basically what this does is if you have multiple Lizard Draws on the field and your opponent destroys one of them, or if they destroy another monster, you basically get to draw like at least 1 to 2 cards if they try to destroy your monsters. So really powerful, and really discourages your opponent from just straight up attacking you, makes them go out of their way to make things like cast down stuff, try to shuffle your Lizard Draws back into your deck to prevent you from generating advantage from their battle phase. So that's why I really do love the card. Okay, so next off we play 2 copies of Performapal Drummerilla. Fortunately, don't have the second copy, but will be coming in the mail shortly. So Performapal Drummerilla is actually really good in this deck because it's a scale 2. The level 5 doesn't really matter, you're not going to be summoning him that much. You're using him primarily for his scale effect. So his scale effect says once per turn, when this card, when an attack is declared involving a monster you control and an opponent's monster, you can target that monster you control, and it gains 600 attack until the end of the battle phase. So basically, if you're attacking with your fusions, you can always boost them up. You can boost Cat Dancer up to 3,000 attack. You can boost Panther Dancer up to 3,400 attack. So you can actually run over a lot of things that you typically can't run over with those cards. And yeah, just very powerful for going for OTKs. It also stacks with Blue Cat, so if you Blue Cat doubled your fusion monster's attack points, and then you add 600 damage extra on top of that for every attack your fusion monsters do, it's just incredible. But it can only boost the attack if your monster's battling an opponent's monster. You can't boost it if you're attacking directly. So next off, for the last of the Performapal monsters, we have Performapal Radish Horse. Now we run 2 copies of this, and it's really powerful actually. It helps us go for OTKs. So Performapal Radish Horse is a scale 3, and its pendulum effect is that once per turn you can target 1 face-up monster that your opponent controls and 1 Performapal monster that you control. The opponent's monster loses attack equal to the attack of your Performapal monster that you control. So basically what this does is it lowers your opponent's monster's attack points. So if you had something like Skullcrobat Joker, you're going to lower something by 1800 attack points. And then if you had a fusion monster on your side of the field like Panther Dancer or Cat Dancer, you can just swing over that monster multiple times for massive amounts of damage. So this is really great for enabling OTKs. And the monster effect is actually really useful for making rank 4s. So it says, if your opponent controls a special summoned monster and controls at least as many monsters as you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then once per turn, you can target one face-up monster on either player's side of the field until the end of the turn. One monster from each player's side of the field, until the end of the turn, that opponent's monster loses attack equal to this card's attack. And if it does, that monster you control gains attack equal to that card's attack. So basically, essentially kind of the same thing as the pendulum scale effect, really helps us enable the OTK pushes, and really versatile card. It can special summon itself, so you can go for rank 4 plays, and then go from there. So next off, we play one copy of, well, this is blank for you guys, but I'll put it on the screen for you all. I'll edit it in post. But this is supposed to be Dragoons of Draconia. It's a level 4 normal pendulum monster. It's a fire attribute with 1800 attack and 200 defense. The pendulum scale effect and the monster effect doesn't have anything because it's a normal monster. But the pendulum scale effect doesn't really matter either because we don't play other normal pendulums. Essentially what we use it for is the scale. It's a scale 2, and it is a beast warrior type. So you can search it with Tenki. If you have a tiger in your scale, you can search this with Tenki and then put it into your other scale, and that completes your scale from 2 to 5, and you can pendulum summon level 3s to 4s. So that's really all that it's there for. I guess if you don't need it in your pendulum scale, you can always summon it. Since it's a beast warrior type, you can always overlay into Tiger King or any other rank 4 that you please. But that's why it's there. It's really good and it's really versatile as a tech, so I highly recommend just pick it up and run it. Okay, so next off we play 2 copies of Max C. Now, of course, Max C just deters your opponent from going off, and extra draws always helps. So we set up our field, and then we gather all our combo pieces, and this just helps us extend our plays. If our opponent starts to go off, they normally don't want to give us too many cards because we can easily OTK if we're given like 5 or 6 cards in our hand in total. So there's that. So that's a lot of monster cards. That's it for the monsters. So next off, we're going to go into the spell cards. So for these spell cards, we're running 3 copies of Fire Formation Tenki. This searches out all of our Beast Warrior type monsters, including the Dragoons of Draconia. So very powerful card. And you can also, if you don't have enough cards to pop with Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, you can always pop the Tenkis on your field as well. Because Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer doesn't have to destroy monsters. It can destroy any cards that are face up on your side of the field. And you can search from there. So next off, standard stuff for Lunalights. We play 2 copies of Polymerization because it's the main fusion card. Play 1 copy of Fusion Substitute to recycle things like Starving Venom or any of the fusions that we have in our grave, such as Cat Dancer or Panther Dancer if we use them for the other fusions as we ladder climb. So next off, we play 2 copies of Fusion Recovery, just to grab back any of the polymerizations and stuff in our graveyard. Adding back the black sheep is also really nice. Typically, the 2 cards are adding back with Fusion Recovery. We bumped up Lunalight Perfume. We're actually playing 3 copies of Lunalight Perfume. My reasoning for this is if you draw it and you can't really use it, you can always set it, and when you pendulum summon your Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer, you can pop it and get Performapal searches, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard and go for some Lunalight searches as well. So that's the reasoning for it. And also because I'm running only 2 copies of White Rabbit, so bumping this up to 3 kind of compensates for the loss of that. So yeah. And last but not least, we're running 2 copies of Twin Twisters. Want to get rid of the back row because we are pendulum summoning a lot. We don't want to run to Solemn Strike, Solemn Warnings. We don't even want to run to Bottomless and stuff, actually. So that's why it's there. And that's it for the main deck. There's no trap cards. Don't really need them. So yeah, next off, we're going to go into the side deck. So first off, we were running 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, Ghost Ogre, very powerful hand trap, and pretty easy to draw into on your opponent's turn when you're playing Max C. So basically, if your opponent's playing things like Metaphors, you're going to side this in. You can side it against ABC as well. It's very good against them. So really good side deck card there. Next off, we were playing 2 copies of Jinzo. Now, while we can't really pendulum summon this card anymore, we can still easily tribute summon for it, and I still believe it's a very powerful card. So, and this deck has enough ways that you can just special summon something from like Tiger, from Perfume, from just a simple pendulum summon, and then you can tribute for a Jinzo. It just shuts down things like Paleozoics and more trap-heavy decks. So definitely recommend running 2. You can run Denko Sekka if you want as well, because it shuts down all of their back row. They just can't set anymore. So that also works. So next off, we're playing 3 copies of Kumongous, the Sticky String Kaiju. Since I'm not playing Allures, I'm not going to be playing Radian. So Kumongous is here because it's 2400, easy to attack over, and it's a level 7. Still don't really like playing the level 8s to give Blue Eyes ways to make easy rank 8s, because rank 8s are still kind of scary. Okay, next off we play 1 copy of Raigeki, just to clear fields if we're going second. I know a lot of decks like to go first. Typically this deck also likes to go second, but having the Raigeki, just in case you're going up against something that plays like Vandy's Fiends or Christias, is really good to clear the field so you can actually play the game. Next off, we're playing 2 copies of System Down, mostly for the ABC matchup, and any other machines really. Dynamists are getting really popular online, I know that, because of Dynamist Howling, so there's that to take into consideration. Next off, we're running 3 copies of Swords of Concealing Light. Same kind of thing as Raigeki, where you want to shut down your opponent's field. So if they're playing things that can swarm the field with a bunch of cards like Crystal Wings and things that normally you'd have to bait to get over, you could just activate a Swords of Concealing Light, flips everything face down, you can go off, combo off, and then just easily attack over the monsters on the field. So there's that. And for the last 2 cards, we're playing some traps. We play 1 copy of Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I don't know why I didn't think of this, like, in all the months before. But Eradicator says you contribute 1 dark monster with 2500 or more attack, and choose spell cards or trap cards. Check your opponent's hand, all spell and trap cards they control, and all cards they draw until the end of the 3rd turn after this card's activation, and destroy all cards of the type that you chose. So basically, you can just call spells against a very spell-heavy deck. You can call traps against things like Paleozoics and stuff, and everything that they draw will have to be destroyed and sent to the graveyard, so they just can't play it, like, period. So it's really, really powerful. And it's also really great for clearing out your opponent's back row. You know, during your opponent's end phase, when they set like a bunch of cards, you can just flip the Eradicator, tribute off something like, I don't know, a Lunalight Cat Dancer or a Panther Dancer. Cat Dancer would have to be boosted by Tenki, but it's besides the point. You tribute those cards, and then you can look at all your opponent's back row and say, okay, well, you're playing all these strikes, so destroy all the strikes, destroy all the warnings. And it's really good for stopping things like combo decks. Combo decks like Lunalights also run a lot of spell cards, so you can just call spell cards, boom, you can wipe out half their hand or more if you get lucky. And last but not least, we're playing 1 copy of Vandy's Emptiness. It's just too good not to run right now, in my opinion. It just shuts down so many decks, and it's better off sided, I believe, right now. I don't really want to main deck it because I want to keep the deck to 40 cards because it's so reliant on drawing and doesn't really have as many like specific search cards that I think that Vandy's Emptiness is just better off in the side deck for now, just to keep the main deck at 40. Anyway, that's it for the side deck. Next off, we're going to go into the extra deck. So starting off, we are running 1 copy of Sky Cavalry Centauria. Now, Sky Cavalry, when it has XYZ materials, cannot be destroyed by battle, and it's a really great non-targeting, non-destruction way of removing cards from the field, so you can always attack into something like a Chaos Max, detach a material from it, and return that monster back to the hand. So really great in that regard. I really do like that new rank 2 Phantom Knights XYZ that came out, the one that targets something, negates its effects, and its attack becomes 0. Now that is just great for opening up OTKs, and I really do hope that comes out soon because I really want that card. Okay, so next off we're running number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk. It's a rank 4 monster. I don't believe I've been running this in the past few months, unfortunately, because it's such a good card. So it has 2 effects. The first effect is that you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. You can use that effect up to twice per turn, which is really nice, so you can banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard, and then you can use this effect to target 1 other XYZ monster you control, equip this card to it as a equip spell, and then it gains 1200 attack points. So boosts up your monster as well, makes them big and beefy so they can attack over things. After banishing 2 of your opponent's key cards, maybe something like Metaphos Fusion, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, things like that, right? Okay, so next off, we're running 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald. This is just here to recycle our extra deck monsters, our hand traps such as Maxi. If you sat in Ghost Ogre, you can recycle that. You can recycle your Kaijus, you can recycle so many different cards that, oh boy, that's a lot of wind. So you can recycle a lot of cards and just get an extra draw from it as well. Typically, you're going to be able to make a lot of rank 4s in this deck because of the Performapal engine, so it's also great to recycle your Pendulum monsters as well. Next off, we were running 1 copy of Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer. So this requires 2 Pendulum monsters for the XYZ summon. And when this card is XYZ summoned, you can add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn. The other effect doesn't really matter because we don't play the Draco Slayers, but this basically just nets us a free search if we have some extra Pendulum monsters laying around. If you have a Pendulum Sorcerer and a Joker, you can just overlay those 2, search a Tiger during the end phase or something, and set up for next turn. So next off, we're running 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf. Very, very good card in this deck, and this build particularly, because it's very easy to have enough monsters to make a rank 4 and have a blue cat on your side of the field. So you can Diamond Direwolf, pop your blue cat in something your opponent controls, then your blue cat floats into something else, and you can continue your plays from there. So it's just really good spot removal, and you can use it potentially up to 2 times. Okay, so next off, we're running 1 copy of Castel. Just return something back to the deck, fairly standard. We run 1 copy of Brotherhood the Firefist Tiger King. When this card is XYZ summoned, you can set a Tenki straight from your deck. Really good for searching, and also a mini skill drain because you can detach 1 material from this card and negate the effects of all other monsters on the field that are not Beast Warrior types. So this helps you get over some really annoying cards such as Magic Specters and things that can't be targeted and such, so pretty good. Okay, and last but not least, we're running the Utopia package with the Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. So that does it for the XYZ monsters here. Next off, we're going to go into their fusion monsters. So starting off the fusion monsters, we were playing 1 copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. He looks amazing. Just looks so nice. So Starving Venom requires 2 dark monsters on the field for its summon, and when it's summoned, you can gain the attack of 1 special summon monster your opponent controls. So basically, he becomes like really beefy if your opponent has a really big monster, such as Blue Eyes on their field. And then you can also target 1 level 5 or higher monster that your opponent controls, and you can gain its effect for the turn, basically. So this is really nice. I really do like it. It's really easy for it to, you can summon it late game and just steal the game with it. It's like a mini lightning, basically, but in fusion form. And if this card is destroyed, it doesn't even have to be sent to the graveyard to be banished. So this can be bottomless and it'll still go off. So if this card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So it's like a mini Raigeki built in as well. So it's just so versatile, so powerful overall that you basically have to run it. Okay, so next off for our Lunalight fusions, we run 2 copies of Lunalight Cat Dancer. The first stage of the fusions requires 2 Lunalight monsters, and she cannot be destroyed by battle. You can also tribute 1 other Lunalight monster you control, and this she can attack every monster your opponent controls twice each. And every time she declares an attack, your opponent takes 100 damage, but sometimes that does add up to a bit of damage, so that's pretty good. Okay, so next off, we're running 2 copies of Lunalight Panther Dancer. Now, Panther Dancer has the effect where she cannot be destroyed by card effects, but she does require a Lunalight Cat Dancer as material for the summon, which is quite unfortunate, but I can understand why. So for her effect, you don't even have to tribute a Lunalight monster. You can just activate her effect to say, I'm going to attack everything that my opponent controls twice each. They won't be destroyed in battle the first time, and they'll be destroyed the second time. So pretty good, and she is probably the current boss monster of the deck. You really want to just summon her, swing over a bunch of things twice each, and then win. Especially with the Performapals, you can Performapal, your Radish Horse or your Drummerilla. You can increase your own attack, decrease their attack, and then just run over things. Okay, and last but not least, we're running 1 copy of Lunalight Leo Dancer. She is, I guess, the true boss monster of the deck. technically. Not in the TCG right now, but once the Kaleido Chick and other support comes out. Basically, Leo Dancer, she cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and she can attack twice during each battle phase, and with a 3500 attack body, she is pretty scary, especially if you can pendulum summon after you summon this, and like summon a blue cat or something. Blue cat can double her to 7000 attack, and 7000 attack, attacking twice is pretty scary. After she declares an attack and destroys something, you can activate her effect to destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls, I believe. So, very good for just wiping out their entire field. So yeah, there's that as well. So that does it for the extra deck, and that does it for the deck profile. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Lunalight content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.